What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the show. It's your host with the most, sendesdhaiti, back with another one. So this is gonna be a very short video, but this is a reoccurring theme in my life over the last, let's say 10 years. Actually, not. Over the last, 5 years, I'd say. But this has been a very reoccurring theme, and I'm actually tired of it. And for those of you who don't know, I started on this journey of becoming basically like my own business person, like my own, like running my own businesses basically. So that I wouldn't have to rely on other companies hiring me, other businesses hiring me, or anything like that. But just recently, I just started this job like no longer than 3 weeks ago. And this thing was putting me through the ringer, guys. Like I'm talking about like labor, bro, like almost akin to construction. Like that's how much labor it is. I'm lifting 50-pound bags on the daily for 8 to 10, sometimes 11 hours a day in 100-degree climates. It's not really weather because it's inside, it's inside a facility, but it's 100-degree weather inside this facility, right? And we're basically moving flour all day. 50-pound bags, 25-pound bags bundled into two. So two 25-pound bags bundled into two, or bundled into one. 27-pound bags bundled into one, like two of them. So we're doing this thing for like 8 hours, 10 hours a day. And after my first week, it was kind of cool. It was starting at 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And I only worked 4 days that week. I had the weekend off, but the second week, I basically worked nonstop. So from Monday all the way to Sunday. And then I would have to basically start my regular work week again because they needed overtime, or it was like last minute overtime, right? Some people called out last minute or were not able to come, and me being new, or a contractor, it was like a temp agency, so me being new, the new guy on the totem pole, they basically, if anyone doesn't pick up those hours, I get defaulted to those hours. So I had to work the week. And I didn't mind because they said the weekend is like double time, So I'm in there. But fast forward a week after that, after I finished working my regular work week after that weekend, I started getting complaints, right? That I'm not moving fast enough, that I'm not like performing up to their standards. And mind you, keep in mind, I just started like 2 weeks ago. So there's that. But I didn't see it that way. I literally learned the entire process. I was there to learn, like I had an open ear and everything, but they kept saying the same thing. I'm not moving fast enough, even though I was running my shift, right? Everyone else was walking to do what they had to do. I was literally running because that's basically what was required of me personally to be able to maintain this machine. So my job was a machine operator basically, and my job was to keep the machine from getting backed up. And at the same time, I needed to operate a forklift to be able to get the fully palletized products from the line that the machine was spitting out onto the logistics warehouse floor. So we had to find a location to put all these things, to stack them up 2, 3 high, and that was basically it. And it was just to maintain the environment, while the machine is running. And if the machine went down, I had to literally stop what I was doing. That's what they said. I had to stop what I was doing, regardless of if I was putting stuff with a forklift or anything like that away, anything like that. Stop what I'm doing and go tend to the machine to make sure that it's back up and running. This is a facility that runs 24/7, 7 days a week. So the name of the game was to keep the machine spitting out these products all day. So fast forward to week 3, I basically started to run this machine on my own. No, this is week 3. This is week 3. And I basically started to run the machine on my own. People were going to breaks, leaving me by myself with one other guy on the packing side. I'm more of the palletizer side. And I'm basically running it on my own. the manager would literally come through thinking there's an issue, and I'm already halfway through it, starting everything. And literally that same week, the head manager literally said, "Oh, it looks like you've got things all under control here." So I'm like, how am I not performing, right? But apparently during this week, me and the guy that was training me had an altercation. And the week previously to this, we've had some back and forth before, because, they would tell me to do something and I would start to do it, but then they would tell me, no, 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 that's not how you do it. And it'll just be this constant thing where it's like, instead of just telling me exactly right away, like how to do something specifically, they would just let me basically do it wrong and try to correct me after the fact. And that kind of gets annoying. I'm pretty sure you could, understand where that's coming from, right? So this same individual this week say they need the forklift, right? And at this time we usually have like two forklifts working at a time, but today we only had one, and I needed to get something, with the forklift, or put something back with the forklift. Or I think I was trying to move one of the pallets over closer to the wrapping machine to be able to rewrap this pallet. And this guy, he was troubleshooting the machine, and the manager was there. And I guess the manager had told him to get it back up and running by clearing the line. So this guy sees I'm using the forklift, and instead of either letting me know to just clear the line, because I'm already on the forklift, right? Logic here. We're using logic. He wants the forklift for himself so he can move the line himself, right? This is not really a team working environment anyway, but he wants the forklift, right? So I tell him, all right, give me a second. Let me just finish what I'm already doing on the forklift, and then you can have the forklift right after. Like literally 30 seconds, it's not even gonna take. So this guy gets angry. He starts to get not belligerent, but he gets angry. Like you could see he's frustrated. And I know he's frustrated, but I don't care. Like, bro, I'm already doing something. It'll literally take 30 seconds and then it's all yours. Or he could have just asked me, "Hey, bro, can you just take the stuff off the line with the forklift since you're already on it?" No problem. But that's not what he does. So I ignore him and I finish what I'm doing, literally 30 seconds. Then he runs over to where I am. I was literally about to drive the forklift to where he is because that's closer to the line. And this guy comes to the forklift. I'm already stepping out of the forklift because I see him coming to me. So I'm like, all right, here's the forklift. So I take my seatbelt off and begin stepping out of the forklift. Not fully out. This guy takes his arm, shoves me out of the way like this, just to get into the forklift so he can move the pallets off of the line, right? So obviously with this, I get mad myself and I push him back. I push him into the forklift, right? And we start getting into this back and forth argument of, "Oh, I needed the forklift so I can move the pallets off the line." And I'm telling him, like, you could have just waited, because now we're both, because now the time that he needed to move all this stuff off the line, we're just going back and forth now. So it's taken a lot more time than if he would have just waited, been patient. But no, he didn't want to do that. We get into this whole argument and it gets to the point where we almost get into a fight over this, So the managers run over, both the warehouse and the production manager. They run over and they say from where they were standing, from what they saw, they only saw me push him, right? And at this point, I'm like, I see what you guys are trying to do here, but it's not going to work. So I'm like, I don't care what you saw, right? Check the cameras. So they go back and check the cameras, and they come back and they basically apologize and say, "Oh, we didn't realize that he pushed you first. From where we were standing, it looked like you pushed him." But it didn't sound like they were trying to like they were just trying to squash the situation. Yeah. But it didn't sound like they were on my side on this at all, right? And I could understand this. I'm a contractor. This other individual is an actual employee of the company who's been hired from the agency already, right? So he's an official employee of this company. I'm just a contractor, only 3 weeks in. So what they say is, let's just squash this beef, and they try to send me home early. So I'm like, why do I have to go home early, right? And I'm like, all right, bet. I'm gonna just go home. I'm gonna just go home early. It's at this point it's like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and usually I have to walk to the back of the warehouse to sign out. So that's what I do. And before I do that, I, start speaking with this same individual that I was getting into the altercation with. And he's like, what you may think may not be important, but the manager told me to move the line. So that's the most important thing right now. Like what you were doing wasn't important. I'm like, fuck all that, bro. I'm already doing something. I'm already busy with this right here, right now. You could have just asked me to move the stuff off the line, especially since I already had the forklift. But you didn't want to do that. You wanted to do it yourself. And this guy, he comes off as he likes to work by himself. He's mentioned that before. He doesn't like working with others, but this isn't the environment for that. You've got literally one other person here to help you with this job, right? So might as well use that extra hand. But nah, he doesn't want to do that. He doesn't see what I'm trying to get to. So then the manager comes over and he basically says, like, that's when he says, okay, we didn't realize, we just look at the camera. We didn't realize that he pushed you. But at the end of the day, you're a contractor of this company. You're not an actual employee, right? That's what he was trying to push out. That's what he said. But from what I could get from it, he was saying his position is more solid than you are. So you need to be careful, right? So he asked me to stay for the rest of the day, is it anyway, I don't even know why, but he asked me to stay for the rest of the day. I'm like, all right, I get the rest of my hour. I finished that day. And mind you, this is Wednesday. 2 days go by, right? I'm not paying this guy any mind. And that day, Wednesday, he asked us to squash this beef and if we'll be able to work together sustainably, basically. We're like, yeah, whatever. Basically, that's what we say. Yeah, whatever. Like, I didn't come here for all this, right? I'm coming here to do the job that they hired me for. So fast forward to Friday, after break, my ID isn't swiping me into the building. I'm like, what the heck's going on? Is this thing broken or something? Like, but no. At the end of that day, on my way home, mind you, they didn't have the guts to at least let me know this stuff before I left so I could grab my belongings. No. On my way home, after I clocked out and everything, already heading home, that's when the agency calls me. The guy who hired me from the agency calls me and he's like, hey, so I'm just letting you know you've been let go from your contract with so and so company. And they mentioned it was because of your tardiness or whatever, due to you coming late 6 times out of 11 days. And even that was so like the story wasn't adding up because I was even looking at my timesheet and I was like most of the times I was late, it was only by a few minutes. Like literally I've only come late twice, right? I've only come late twice. And both of those was when I came 10 minutes late. The other time was 30 minutes late, which I understand that. 30 minutes, 10 minutes and 30 minutes. Both of those are late because they said the cutoff is 7 minutes after the time I start. But I understand late is late in their policy, right? Especially me being fresh in this company as a contract. But they basically terminated my contract and they were saying it was because of tardiness and all that stuff, but I know the real, it's because of that Wednesday, right? That altercation. That was basically the nail in the coffin, showing, hey, maybe this guy's not the right fit. And then they wanted to tack all of these other reasons onto there, saying that I wasn't performing my job when literally that's all I've been doing these entire 3 weeks. I wasn't showing up on time, but I was staying so much later than I was supposed to. I was literally coming every single day that I was scheduled. And if I was late, I was only late by 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. So the point of this story is I'm kind of just tired of this narrative of just having to work for these types of companies, like all these labor jobs. Like I'm tired of it, bro. So I know it's going to sound like an ad, but that is actually why I created these two platforms. It's actually to liberate myself. Outside of YouTube and outside of content creating. Those are the real reasons why I made those, is so that I wouldn't have to keep relying on things like that, situations like that, to put food on my table. And honestly, I wanted to sue. But like that's gonna be something down the line, you know. But honestly, I just wanted that time to vent a little, vent to you, to let you know what was going on in my life so far. And I feel like the message of this story is, don't let anybody try to write your story and try to write who you are, because these people, these managers were saying you had a job to do and you failed to do it, when literally they just said like 2-3 days ago, I've already caught up to a lot of the people that's been working there for months. But that's on them. You know, they lost someone else. They lost another great employee. But that's gonna be the video for today, folks. Like, comment, subscribe, and I look to see you all here next time. We out of here.
You're watching the Get Up Show.